Let's be honest. Your supply chain is probably operating in the past, constantly just reacting to problems. Today, though, we're going to explore how AI agents are completely flipping that script, moving from just putting out fires to actually predicting and even shaping the future. So let's start with a number, a big one that should get any business leader's attention. $65 million. Now, what in the world does that number actually represent? Well, for a $3 billion company, that's the potential loss every single year from things like inventory overages, product defects, and production downtime. It's this massive and often hidden cost. So to understand how we can fix this, we really need to understand why it's so broken in the first place. Right, so the solution, it really starts with understanding the problem. And for most supply chains, the problem is that they're just stuck in this constant state of reaction, always playing catch up, always one step behind. Think about this for a second. For a lot of high-tech companies, a planning error rate of up to 30% is considered, well, normal. That huge gap between what you think you need and what you actually need, it's just baked right into the system. And it's a super costly reality that's born from having siloed data and slow manual analysis. But what if you could change all that? What if you had a totally new kind of assistant to manage all of this insane complexity for you? And this brings us right to the solution, AI agents. But what are they, really? And, how are they any different from the AI we're already using every day? The best way to think about it is like this pyramid, okay? So at the very bottom, you've got your raw enterprise data. On top of that, you have analytics that help you understand the past. Then you've got predictive AI to forecast the future and generative AI to create new stuff. AI agents, they sit right at the very peak, using all of those layers below to not just analyze, but to actually act. So how do they actually do things? Well, in short, they use 4 key components that let them handle these complex, multi-step tasks all by themselves. They use AI models to reason and plan. They use tools, think of things like APIs, to connect to other systems and take action. Orchestration, that's kind of like their memory. It keeps track of what they've done. And the runtime, that's the engine that actually executes the whole plan. Okay, so let's take this out of the world of theory and see what it looks like in action, during a real-world crisis. We're going to walk through exactly how an AI agent transforms a really common supply chain headache. So our story has 2 main characters here. Over on the left, that's Sally. She's a customer, and her entire data center expansion is on hold because of a defective hard drive. And on the right, you've got Mark. He's the production planner, who has to get her a replacement like yesterday without messing up everything else in the process. In the old days, Mark would be scrambling, right? Digging through a dozen spreadsheets, firing off emails to different departments. But now, he just asks his AI agent a simple question. And boom! Instantly, he has an adjusted demand forecast that already accounts for Sally's return. Okay, next up, he asks about inventory. He gets an immediate, totally accurate snapshot telling him he's got 6 months of supply based on that new forecast. But here's where it gets really powerful. Because he's not just reacting anymore, he can finally be proactive. He asks the agent to find the root cause of that defect, and in just a few seconds, it traces the problem all the way back to specific machines on the manufacturing line. Game changer. It's kind of like comparing a human driver with our 2 eyes to a driverless car that has, say, 26 cameras and sensors. The AI agent can see the entire supply chain, demand, inventory, production, logistics, all at the same time. That's something no single human being could ever do. And this slide, this just illustrates the shift perfectly. On the left, you've got the reactive firefighter, always hunting for data. And on the right, you have the proactive strategist, who gets instant, unified insights and can focus on making the best decision, not just the fastest one. So, how does this all work under the hood? It's really not magic. It's a very intentional, a very well-defined architecture that makes this whole new way of working actually possible. It's all built on 3 foundational layers. First, you unify all your data, from your ERPs, random spreadsheets, even public data, into one single source of truth. Second, you create something called a semantic layer, which is basically a business-friendly model that helps the AI understand what all that data actually means. And third, you enable decisions by letting the AI agents access and act on that clean, unified data. And here is how it all comes together. See, at the bottom, you have that unified data foundation we just talked about. In the middle is the semantic layer. That's the brain that understands the business. And then at the top, you've got the AI agents for all the different functions: demand, inventory, manufacturing. This unified architecture, that's the secret sauce. That's what lets all these agents work together and give Mark the complete picture he needs. So at the end of the day, what does all this incredible technology actually mean for the bottom line? Let's take a look at the tangible business value. And here's where it gets really, really compelling. We're not talking about those typical year-long IT projects you might be used to. With this kind of approach, companies can start seeing real initial business value in as little as 4 weeks. This technology also fundamentally changes the nature of work itself. As Gartner predicts, planners are going to shift from being creators of manual spreadsheets to being curators of AI-driven plans. It actually augments their abilities, freeing them up to focus on high-level strategy instead of just manual data entry. So the key takeaways here are pretty clear. By creating a real-time autonomous supply chain on a unified data foundation, this approach delivers massive business value. We're talking potentially saving 2% of revenue, all while elevating your workforce from data gatherers to true strategists. So we'll leave you with this final thought. In an age where our cars and even our homes are becoming autonomous, isn't it time to ask if your business data is actually working hard enough for you? Or is it just sitting there, waiting to be unleashed?